You ever notice how the strangest things in life are the ones everybody agrees are perfectly normal? The little routines, the customs, the habits that nobody questions. They're all insane, but because everybody does them, we pretend they make sense. That's the human condition. We invent nonsense, repeat it enough times, and suddenly it becomes tradition. Tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. Take lines, for example. We spend half our lives standing in line. Grocery store lines, bank lines, airport lines, bathroom lines, amusement park lines. If you added it all up, I swear people could live an extra 5 years if they just didn't stand in so many lines. But we do it because it's a normal. And everyone has their little line etiquette. You stand there, pretend to be patient, shuffle forward every 30 seconds, and sigh a little louder each time. The person in front of you is digging for coupons. The person behind you is breathing down your neck, and the cashier is moving at the speed of evolution. But you don't complain because you don't want to look crazy. You just stand there like livestock at a gate, waiting for the bell to ring. And we call this civilized. And the grocery store itself, what a masterpiece of absurdity. You walk in and the first thing you see is fruit stacked into pyramids, like a produce tribute to ancient Egypt. The store knows you don't need 5 pounds of grapes, but they've got them piled so high, you start thinking, maybe I should build a fruit shrine at home. Then you get to the bread aisle. 700 different types of bread. White bread, wheat bread, multigrain bread, oat bread, gluten-free bread. Bread with nuts, bread with seeds, bread that looks like it went to college, bread that looks like it never finished high school. And yet you always end up buying the same loaf. And it goes stale before you finish it. And don't even get me started on cereal. Whole aisles dedicated to boxes of sugar disguised as health food. Each one with a cartoon character screaming at you like it's the most important decision of your life. Who picked me? I've got marshmallows shaped like a unicorn. Then there's the bathroom situation. Nobody talks about it, but it's hilarious how we pretend bathrooms are sacred spaces. Public restrooms are a social experiment in pretending nothing's happening. You walk in, someone else is in there, and instantly you both become monks. No eye contact, no talking, just silence and shame. The stalls are these little wooden confessionals with gaps wide enough for the next guy to recognize your shoes. And the sinks, they've got faucets that only work if you wave your hands around like you're summoning a demon. Soap dispensers that shoot foam at random angles, and air dryers that could barely dry a postage stamp. But we accept it. We line up for it, because that's a normal. And small talk, don't get me started on small talk. It's the most absurd ritual of them all. Two adults meet each other, and instead of talking about anything real, we ask, "How's the weather?" Like we're both meteorologists. Or how's work? As if either of us wants to talk about work. It's all noise, all filler just to avoid silence. Silence is the one thing that would actually be honest. But no, we can't have that. We have to talk about humidity. Old friendships are built on decades of small talk. And the second you run out of a "how's your week going?" Gone. The entire thing collapses. And speaking of work, that's another comedy routine disguised as life. People spend 40 hours a week in little cubicles, pretending that typing numbers into a computer is a noble pursuit. You sit under fluorescent lights so harsh they could be used in interrogations, surrounded by motivational posters about teamwork, while eating lunch out of a plastic container that tastes faintly of last night's leftovers. And you tell yourself, this is important. What's important? Updating a spreadsheet? Sitting in a meeting where everyone says the same thing 3 different ways? Work is just organized waiting. You're waiting for lunch, waiting for 5 o'clock, waiting for Friday, waiting for vacation, waiting for retirement. And at the end of it all, they give you a gold watch and say, thanks for waiting. And then we have phones. Not the fancy ones now. I mean the old rituals. Remember when people actually used to answer the house phone? That was chaos. You'd be sitting at dinner, the phone would ring, and everyone in the house would sprint like Olympic athletes to grab it first. You didn't know who was calling. It could have been your grandma, it could have been a salesman, it could have been the wrong number. And when you picked up, you had to be polite no matter what. Hello? And if it was for someone else in the house, you'd play secretary. Hang on, let me get them. Whole families running a switchboard in their living rooms like it was AT&T headquarters. And we thought this was efficient. Don't forget about mail. Actual paper mail. Envelopes stuffed with bills, junk ads, and letters you didn't want. Every day you'd go to the mailbox hoping for something important. And every day it was coupons for carpet cleaning and a credit card application. Once in a while, you'd get a handwritten letter, and it felt like finding buried treasure. But mostly it was garbage you had to carry into the house before throwing away. Imagine aliens watching this. Every day these humans walk to a box, collect paper they don't need, and walk it inside just to throw it out. This is their ritual. And clothing. Now there's a joke. We pretend clothing is about modesty and protection, but really it's about conformity. You put on the right outfit for the right occasion. Work clothes, casual clothes, gym clothes, funeral clothes. If you wear gym shorts to a wedding, suddenly you're the crazy one. As if fabric determines your sanity. And the shoes, why do we torture ourselves with shoes? Stiff leather things that blister your feet, all so people think you're presentable. Presentable to who? Half the people you meet won't remember your name by tomorrow, but you made sure your shoes matched your belt. And the rituals of eating. Well, man, restaurants are a stage play where everybody knows their role. The host greets you with fake enthusiasm. The waiter introduces themselves like you're going to become best friend. And you pretend to read the menu even though you always order the same thing. Then you sit there making conversation while secretly praying the food comes before you run out of things to say. And the whole time, you're calculating the tip in your head like you're solving a math exam. And what about birthdays? That's another normal insanity. Every year you get older, and instead of panicking, people throw a party. They put candles on a cake and ask you to blow on it. Like extinguishing tiny fires is a ritual that will make aging less depressing. And everyone sings the same off-key song, and you smile while thinking a great another year closer to the grave, but thanks for the frosting. That's the tradition. That's the normal way we deal with mortality. Sugar and balloons. It's amazing how much of life is like that. Little absurdities stacked on top of each other, all wrapped in the label of a normal. And nobody stops to question it, because if you did, you'd go insane. You'd stand in a grocery store, stare at the cereal aisle, and scream, "Why are there marshmallows shaped like moons?" And then you'd get escorted out, because the rule is, you're allowed to think it, but you're not allowed to say it. Normal is just collective denial. But maybe that's what makes life so damn funny. It's not the big moments, not the cosmic mysteries. It's the tiny things we all agree to do, the rituals and routines that don't make sense but keep the machine running. The comedy isn't hidden. It's right there in the ordinary every day, waiting in line, nodding in meetings, buying bread, blowing out candles, pretending to care about the weather. The things we call normal are the greatest jokes ever written. And the best part is we're all in on the punchline without even knowing it. Society is the biggest circus in town, and the funniest part is we're all in the act. Nobody bought a ticket, nobody asked to join, but somehow we're performers, stage hands in the audience all at once. The rules, the customs, the traditions, they're all made up, but we treat them like they were written on stone tablets by someone who actually knew what they were doing. And the truth is, half of it doesn't even make sense if you stop and look at it. The whole setup is designed to keep people busy, confused, and just entertained enough that they don't start asking real questions. It's like a magic show, except the magician is society. And the trick is convincing you that paperwork is important. Take neighbors, for example. Neighbors are society's way of testing your patience without admitting it. You don't pick them, you don't audition them. You don't get a trial period, you just get whoever moved in next door. It's like a blind date that never ends. Sometimes you get lucky and they're quiet, friendly. Maybe they bring over cookies. Most of the time, though, you end up with lawn fanatics, noisemakers, or amateur construction workers who think Sunday morning is the perfect time to test a chainsaw. And the funny thing is, society tells you the polite thing to do is smile, wave, and act like it doesn't bother you. That's the rule. Be neighborly. Meanwhile, their dog is leaving daily deposits on your grass like it's a bank, and you're supposed to say, "Good morning," with a straight face. And let's talk about lawns. Oh, lawns are hilarious. A big patch of grass in front of your house that you don't eat, don't use, don't really enjoy, you just maintain it so other people don't think you're a failure. It's basically green hair you shave every week. And people take it seriously too. They measure their worth by how many blades of grass are standing at attention. Look at that guy's lawn, perfect stripes. Must be a responsible man. You know what that guy really is? Bored. Because nobody with an actual exciting life spends 3 hours adjusting the settings on their lawnmower. And society enforces it. Homeowner associations, city codes, all these little rules that say, cut your grass, paint your fence, don't hang your underwear outside. We've all agreed to live in a giant puppet show where the puppets are hedges and garden gnomes. Speaking of rules, nothing shows the circus more than etiquette. All the unwritten rules about how you're supposed to behave, act, speak, sit, eat. Fork in the left hand, knife in the right. Don't slurp your soup. Don't burp at the table. Don't say this. Don't wear that. Don't stand too close. Don't laugh too loud. And the funniest part, nobody knows why half of these rules exist. Who decided elbows on the table was rude? Why is chewing with your mouth open barbaric, but talking with your mouth full somehow acceptable if you cover it with your hand? And who the hell invented the necktie? A piece of cloth you strangle yourself with before you go to a meeting. It's decorative newswear. Society convinced people it looks a professional, when in reality it's just a fabric leash reminding you who owns your time. Speaking of work, oh, that's the biggest act in the circus. Offices are carnivals in disguise. The cubicles are cages, the managers are ringmasters, and the company mission statement is the circus music playing in the background. Everyone pretends they care about the goals and the values, when really they care about Friday and payday. Meetings are comedy sketches by themselves. You gather 10 people in a room to discuss something that could have been solved in one email, but now everyone's nodding like they're philosophers. A good point, Ted. Excellent idea, Susan. Meanwhile, they're doodling on the agenda and trying not to fall asleep, and society tells you this is respectable. This is a career. No, it's a clown show with PowerPoint slides. And the education system isn't far behind. School is basically rehearsal for adult life in the circus. Sit in rows, raise your hand. Wait for permission to speak, memorize facts you'll never use, and pass tests that prove you were awake long enough to bubble in circles. Then they tell you this is preparing you for the real world. When was the last time anyone needed to know the Pythagorean theorem while shopping for groceries? Excuse me, how much are the bananas per hypotenuse? But we all go along with it, because the rule is you need a diploma, and then a degree, and then a certificate, and then another degree, until you spent more time learning how to live than actually living. Society makes education into a treadmill. Keep running, but don't expect to actually get anywhere. And money? That's the tightrope act of the circus. The whole thing runs on little pieces of paper with pictures of dead guys, or numbers on a screen. Completely imaginary, but we treat it like oxygen. You can't eat it, you can't drink it, you can't build a shelter out of it, but society says this is the most important thing you'll ever chase. And the rules about money are the best part. You're supposed to save it, spend it, invest it, share it, but never talk about it. It's taboo to ask, "Kay, how much do you make?" But totally fine to judge someone by their shoes. And the banking system, that's a magic trick so good it deserves its own tent. Or we'll take your money, keep it safe, lend it to other people, charge them interest, and then give you back less than you gave us. Aren't you glad we exist? And people nod and say, "Yes, thank you, bank." That's not a system. That's a con with carpeting. Then there's fashion. Society convinced everyone to chase styles that change faster than the weather. One year it's baggy pants. The next year it's skinny pants. One season it's bright colors. The next it's funeral chic. You're never in style. You're just behind or ahead of it. And people pay ridiculous amounts of money for clothes designed to make them look like they belong. Belong to what? A group of people who also spend too much money to look like they belong. It's a costume party, but the invitation never said it was optional. And the best part is the clothes don't even last. After one wash, your fashionable shirt looks like a rag that came free with a car wash. But you still keep buying, because the rule is, don't get caught in last year's trends. And you know who makes these rules. Other people as confused as you are. Oh, let's not forget politics. Now that's the circus at its finest. It's a big tent, a couple of clowns arguing over who gets to hold the microphone while the audience cheers or boos depending on which clown's makeup they like better. Promises are made, slogans are shouted, and at the end the audience goes home with nothing but popcorn crumbs and a headache. And society says, this is important. This is democracy, really? Watching two people debate who cares more about the common man while neither of them has seen a common man in 20 years? That's not democracy. That's a talent show with worse judges. And religion. Oh, that's the circus that never leaves town. Every society has its own version, with its own costumes, rituals, and scripts. Stand, sit, kneel, sing, chant, repeat after me. Put money in the basket, eat the cracker, drink the wine. And everyone insists their circus is the real one, the one with the best show. People will fight over which tent has the true ringmaster while ignoring the fact that the circus tent is the same shape everywhere. And whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny it's one of the longest running acts in human history. Even dating is part of the circus. The rules for that change all the time too. Who calls first? Who pays for dinner? How long do you wait to say certain things? When do you meet the parents? It's a dance with choreography nobody really understands. And weddings, those are the big top performances. Thousands of dollars spent to dress like royalty for one day with flowers, music, food, and a photographer who captures every fake smile. And people clap and cry and say, this is the happiest day of your life. Which is funny, because shouldn't the happiest day be the one where you didn't spend yourself into debt? But no, society says big wedding, big performance, big expectations. And the marriage that comes after? That's not part of the show anymore. That's backstage work. Then there are the little daily rules. Don't cross the street until the light says so, even if there are no cars for miles. Don't talk too loud in public, even if everyone else is yelling into their cell phone. Don't eat dessert before dinner, even though dessert is the only part you wanted in the first place. All these little rules we follow without thinking. Because the real rule, the unwritten one, is that you have to pretend to be a normal. And a normal, it just means doing what everyone else is doing, even if it's stupid. That's the circus of society. A never-ending show where the acts keep changing, but the tricks stay the same. People jumping through hoops, balancing on tight ropes, juggling responsibilities, putting on makeup, playing roles. And the funniest part is none of us are just the audience. We're all in the ring, pretending to know our lines, hoping nobody notices we're winging it. And maybe that's the biggest joke of all. The rules only work because we believe in them. The moment you stop believing, you see the circus for what it is: smoke, mirrors, and a whole lot of clowns. Love is the greatest comedy ever written because it's the only story everybody falls for, literally. You don't get a choice. At some point, life pushes you into it. And it's funny because love is supposed to be this deep, serious, cosmic thing. Poets write about it. Musicians sing about it. People cry over it. But when you look at the actual details, it plays out like a badly written sitcom that never got canceled. It's awkward, confusing, repetitive, and somehow, no matter how bad the last episode was, we always tune in again. Think about how love starts. It usually begins with something dumb, like a look across the room. You see someone and suddenly your brain forgets how to operate. You were fine a minute ago, smart, confident, rational, but the moment your eyes lock with theirs, your intelligence packs its bags and heads for the airport. Now you're standing there trying to figure out how to move your mouth without drooling. That's the beginning of love. Not poetry, not romance, not fireworks. Just two people staring at each other and one of them thinking, don't say something stupid, while the other one is saying something stupid. And then you've got dating, the trial phase of love. Dating is hilarious because it's basically an audition where both people are pretending to be characters they're not. You put on your best clothes, you comb your hair, you spray something expensive on yourself, and you sit across from someone in a restaurant pretending that this is who you are every day. You're laughing at their jokes harder than you should, nodding at stories you don't care about, and acting like you don't normally eat spaghetti by shoveling it into your face like a construction worker on a lunch break. Dating is a job interview where the position is a partner for life, and both candidates are lying about the qualifications. Oh, me? I'm easygoing, I love kids, I hardly ever get mad. Meanwhile, your roommate knows you once threw a toaster because the bagels were unevenly brown. And those little rules of dating, oh, they're the funniest part. Don't call too soon, don't wait too long, don't say you like them too much, don't say you don't like them enough. Who wrote these rules? Is there a dating rule book hidden somewhere in a cave? You call too early, you're desperate. If you wait too long, you're not interested, so you sit there, phone in your hand, debating with yourself like you're defusing a bomb. Or do I call now? No, wait another day. Okay, maybe I'll send a casual message. No, that's too casual. What if they think I don't care? But if I say too much, they'll think I care too much. And meanwhile, the other person is doing the exact same dance. Two people who like each other, both pretending they don't, just to follow rules that don't make sense. And then if you survive dating, you end up in a relationship. That's where the real comedy starts, because that's when the acting ends and the truth comes out. At first, it's all flowers and candlelight, holding hands and long walks, staying up all night talking about your dreams. But give it a few months, and now you're arguing about who left wet towels on the bed. That's the real relationship. Two people discovering each other's weird habits and trying to negotiate them like diplomats. But listen, I can handle the way you snore like a chainsaw, but you've got to stop chewing with your mouth open. And the other person says, fine, I'll chew quieter if you stop using every single dish in the kitchen for one sandwich. That's romance. Not sonnets, not love song, just bartering chores like it's a flea market. And people fight over the dumbest things in relationships. Couples can turn anything into an argument. Directions, TV shows, thermostat settings. Oh, the thermostat is the ultimate battlefield of love. One person is freezing, the other is sweating, and the compromise is that both of them are equally miserable. That's love. You'd think two people who like each other would find joy in being together. But no, they find ways to torture each other with climate control. And it's always the same phrases, too. It's too cold in here. I know it's too hot. I'll put on a sweater. By the end, you're negotiating like peace treaties. Okay, 72 degrees, but only until 9 p.m. Then we revisit the situation. And let's not forget communication. Every relationship book talks about communication, like it's the key to everything. But communication in love isn't honest, it's translation. It's not what you say, it's what the other person hears. You say, I'm tired. They hear, I don't want to talk to you. You say, do you want to eat here? They hear, your taste in restaurants. You say, nothing's wrong. They hear, everything's wrong and I hate you, but you should already know why. Love is a language with no dictionary, where every word has 15 possible meanings depending on tone, timing, and facial expression. And even when you're honest, it backfires. You say, I don't care where we eat, you pick. That's not honesty, that's a trap. Because they pick and suddenly you care a lot. Here? You wanted to eat here? I didn't mean here. And then you spend 45 minutes driving in circles, hungry and angry, until you both settle on the same place you always go. That's not love. That's culinary deja vu. And the little quirks are the quirks. At the beginning, quirks are acute. They leave the cap off the toothpaste, adorable. They hum in the shower, precious. Fast forward 2 years. And suddenly it's, why can't you close the damn toothpaste? Do you think the cap is allergic to the tube? Do you have to hum every time you shower? Are you trying to ruin my day with your little concert? The quirks don't change, your tolerance does. Love is basically a sliding scale of patience. And then there's the whole idea of moving in together. That's where fantasy really meets reality. Because nothing says a romance like arguing over closet space. Suddenly you're not just sharing feelings, you're sharing furniture, dishes, a bathroom, and the last slice of pizza. Love songs never mention the part about combining your sock drawers. Nobody sings, I'd give up half my closet for you, but that's what it really comes down to. How much personal space are you willing to sacrifice for this person who leaves crumbs in the butter? And eventually, if things go well, society pushes you toward marriage. Oh, marriage is the ultimate performance. You spend months planning one big day, inviting people you barely talk to, paying for flowers that will die in 3 hours, and dressing up like you're auditioning for a historical drama. And everyone claps and cries and says, "This is the happiest day of your life." Which is hilarious, because if your happiest day is the one where you spend 10 grand on chair covers, you're in trouble. And after all that, marriage itself is just the same relationship you already had, but now with shared taxes and one more ring to lose. You sit around holiday tables pretending to enjoy each other's company, and 5 minutes later, you're arguing about who's carving the turkey wrong. And society says, "That's family. Treasure it." Sure, but can I treasure it from a safe distance? The truth is, love is everywhere in life, but it never looks the way the songs and movies tell you it will. It's not slow dancing under the stars, it's tripping over their shoes in the hallway. It's not passionate kisses in the rain, it's arguing over which umbrella to bring. It's not perfect vows and eternal bliss, it's forgetting anniversaries, forgiving mistakes, and sharing the last cookie because you know they'll pout if you eat it. And that's the funniest thing about love. It's messy, illogical, unpredictable, and completely irrational, but we chase it anyway. Because no matter how many times it makes fools of us, no matter how awkward or frustrating or ridiculous it gets, there's still something beautiful in the comedy of it all. Maybe that's why we keep coming back. Because deep down, we know that love is the one joke worth laughing at forever. Everybody's out here trying to find the meaning of life, like it's some prize hidden in a cereal box. That's the great human obsession. What's it all about? You'd think if there were an answer, someone would have mailed out flyers by now. But no, instead we get philosophers, priests, gurus, scientists, poets, and motivational speakers, all standing on their soapboxes saying, "I figured it out." And people clap by their books and then wake up the next morning just as confused as they were before. If there is a meaning, it's the worst-kept secret in history. And if there isn't one, then the joke is on us for spending thousands of years looking for it. The funny thing is, humans are the only species obsessed with this question. Dogs aren't lying around in the yard thinking, "What's my purpose? Why am I here?" No, a dog's purpose is whatever squirrel just ran by. Cats aren't meditating on the meaning of existence. They already know it's about knocking glasses off counters and making you their servant. But humans? We want the universe to hand us a mission statement. We want to know why we exist. As if life is some kind of job interview and we're waiting for the manager to come in and say, "Congratulations, you've been hired to experience reality." Meanwhile, life just keeps happening whether you figured it out or not. And the ways people look for meaning, oh, they're priceless. Some chase it in work. They think their job is their identity. They wake up early, shave, put on a tie, and tell themselves, "I make a difference." What's the difference? Filling out spreadsheets and sending emails about meetings that didn't need to happen? Nobody grows up dreaming of quarterly reports. But somewhere along the line, people start believing their cubicle is their destiny. And the companies feed into it. Join us, be part of something bigger. Yeah, bigger headaches and smaller weekends. If work is the meaning of life, then life's punchline is burnout. Others chase meaning in money. Oh, money, the ultimate mirage. Everybody wants it, everybody chases it, and nobody ever feels like they have enough. You get a little, you want more. You get more, you want even more. It's like trying to quench your thirst with salt water. And people attach their whole identity to the size of their bank account. You see them flashing cars, jewelry, houses. Also, people will look at them and think, "Wow, they must be important." But you never see a pile of cash tell a joke, or hug you, or make you feel less alone. Money can buy you a mattress, sure, but it can't buy you sleep. And if you think it can buy happiness, go ask the guy with 3 ex-wives and a gold-plated toilet how happy he feels at night. Then you've got the people who chase meaning and fame. That's a whole other level of comedy. They want to be known, recognized, adored by strangers. They think being famous will fill the hole inside them, but all fame really does is make your private misery public. And the funny part is, most people don't even want real fame. They want just enough fame to get the perks, but not enough to deal with the consequences. I want to be loved by millions, but I also want privacy. Sorry you don't get both. And the people who do get famous eventually say the same thing: the fame isn't everything. But by then, they're saying it from a mansion, so nobody takes it seriously. Some people look for meaning in love, like the whole purpose of existence is to find the one. And when they finally meet someone, they act like they've solved the riddle of the universe. This is my soulmate. Now life makes sense. Give it a few years, and that soulmate is yelling at them for leaving dishes in the sink. So much for cosmic destiny. Love is wonderful, sure. But if you think it's the ultimate meaning, you're in for a plot twist. Relationships are not a solution. They're another puzzle with more pieces. And half the time, the pieces don't even fit, but you jam them together anyway because you don't want to admit you bought the wrong puzzle. And then there's religion and philosophy. The big leagues of meaning. Entire systems built to answer the question of why. And they've been around forever, offering comfort, rules, rituals, and a promise that, yes, life has a purpose. The problem is, nobody agrees on what that purpose is. One group says a purpose is to serve. Another says a purpose is to transcend. Another says a purpose is to obey. And meanwhile, people are out here just trying to pay rent. The cosmic plan sounds great, but it doesn't explain why the landlord keeps raising the rent on a one-bedroom apartment with a leaky faucet. And philosophy. Oh, the philosophers. They sit around debating whether life is absurd, whether meaning exists, whether we create our own purpose. Which is hilarious, because philosophers have been asking the same questions for thousands of years, and the answer is still, we don't know. It's the longest-running group project with no conclusion. Imagine if plumbers worked like philosophers. But did you fix the leak? Oh well, I considered the leak. I asked myself what it means to leak. But fixing it? No, that's not my job. Some people search for meaning in experiences. They travel the world, climb mountains, swim oceans, eat exotic foods, trying to collect enough moments to feel alive. And that's great, until you realize that most of those moments are filtered through inconveniences. You want enlightenment on a mountaintop, but first you've got altitude sickness and a blister the size of a grape on your foot. You want to see the wonders of the world, but you're stuck in line behind 100 other tourists with the same camera. And the whole time you're worried about whether your luggage made it to the right airport. So much for profound meaning. Oh, most of the time you're just trying to find a bathroom. And meaning gets even funnier when you realize how much of it is just timing. People always look back on their lives and find the signs in the past. Oh, I met her on that exact day. It must have been fate. No, it was Tuesday and you happened to be there. People love to retrofit meaning onto random events. You find a penny on the sidewalk and suddenly it's the universe blessing you. Or you spill coffee on yourself and you decide that maybe this is a lesson in patience. No, it's just bad luck and gravity. Not everything has to be a cosmic message. Sometimes it's just coffee on your shirt. And the way people cling to routines for meaning, it's almost tragic and hilarious at the same time. They wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, repeat, and tell themselves, this is my purpose. This is life as a checklist you tick off until you die. They live for weekends, for holidays, for the tiny breaks in the monotony, but never question why the monotony is there in the first place. It's like watching hamsters on a wheel convincing themselves they're training for the Olympics. The funniest part about meaning is how personal it is. Everyone thinks their meaning is the right one. The career person thinks the artist is wasting their life. The artist thinks the banker sold their soul. The religious person thinks the atheist is lost. The atheist thinks the religious person is delusional. And around it goes, everyone pointing at everyone else saying, you don't get it. Maybe nobody gets it. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the only meaning is to stop pretending there's one and laugh at the fact that we're all clueless together. And when you step back, you realize the whole search for meaning is really just a way for humans to distract themselves from how short and random life actually is. We want a grand story, but what we've got is a bunch of tiny moments strung together with duct tape and coffee. And coffee. We want a big finale, but the truth is, the curtain comes down without much warning. and the show's over whether you understood it or not. And maybe that's the punchline. There was never a script. We were improvising the whole time. And if that's the case, then the only sane response isn't to panic or obsess or build complicated systems to justify it. The only sane response is to laugh. To laugh at the rules, at the routines, at the love stories, at the jobs, at the money, at the endless search for something that probably isn't there. Because if the meaning of life is to find meaning, then we've been chasing our tails for centuries. But if the meaning of life is to laugh at how ridiculous it all is, then congratulations. We've already nailed it. So maybe the real meaning of existence isn't hidden in a book, or a temple, or a job title. Maybe it's just in the fact that we're here, confused, stumbling around, brushing our teeth with Mindy paste, arguing over thermostats, looking for love, searching for answers. Somehow managing to find humor in every single bit of it. Because if life is the setup, then laughter is the punchline.